I told you I was gonna do this story time, so I got my stuff so that I remember. But first things first. These crusty ass lips. Go ahead and shine them bitches up, cause the winter time don't like me. Don't worry, I don't like you either. Like spring and fall, okay? Because it ain't too hot, ain't too cold. The crust is real, okay? But we're just gonna move past it, y'all. We're just gonna move past it. Okay, if you're new, subscribe now, right now. If you been here before, you watch my videos, I appreciate your support, because I tell you, I be thinking I'm the only person watching my shit. It's me and my folks. So if you new and you don't know me, please drop a comment, let me know where you from, did you like the video, something. Just say hey, you know. But please subscribe and go ahead, ring that notification bell and click it to all, because I need you to see all my stuff so that you can watch all my stuff. Okay. All right, let's get on to this. By the time you got an idea of what it's about, I'm gonna say that, because you don't really know, but you know, I got you. So yeah, it all started on October 29th, 2021. That's the day I found out I was pregnant. Okay, I was pregnant. That's the day I found out I was pregnant. I was shook here. I'm gonna tell you how it went. So, me and my husband, oh, you rude. Oh, you rude and disrespectful. Stop yelling. I'm telling the story. He disrespectful. Anyway, so, you gonna let me tell my story or no? Okay, so, me and my husband, we went to Walmart. So, when we got to Walmart, I was like, we was doing random stuff. And then I started thinking, I'm like, damn, what's today? And then we got in the car. And I'm like, I'm still thinking, why is today bothering me so much? Like, what is going on? What is today? And so then I thought about it. I'm like, it's the 29th. Yeah. So it's the 29th. And I'm like, I had my period on the 1st. And it's anywhere between 24 to 26 days. If y'all don't want to hear this, you know, just skip forward, just live it. Okay? But my period is normally like 24 to 26 days apart. So I know, like mine is, it be on. When it's on, it's on. Okay? That's how I always know when I'm pregnant, because I always miss it. That motherfucker always be gone. We went to we was driving. I said, babe, I think I might be pregnant. I should have got a pregnancy test. He told me something. Pregnant? He said, you ain't pregnant. I'm like, I know when I'm pregnant. I feel like I'm pregnant. And he's like, nah. I said, I missed my period. He's like, you don't know if you missed your period. I said, I do. So I went through a whole little thing. I had broke my phone, so I didn't have my phone. So I used his phone. I asked him to download a damn, what the fuck is that called? An app. What is the app called? It's a calendar app, period calendar app on his phone. And he would not give me that phone for nothing. He was like, you ain't downloading that on my phone. And I'm like, it ain't gonna stay there. And who gonna see your phone other than me? Who gonna see your phone other than me? So, you know, so he gave me his phone. And I downloaded the app or whatever, and I went through it, and it told me I was 2 days late, not 1 day late. So I was like, it say late, boo. So we gonna go get a pregnancy test. So we went to Dollar Tree, went up in Dollar Tree, right across the street. And yes, I buy Dollar Tree pregnancy tests. They work just the same as the Clear Blue, okay? The only difference is you can take them bitches earlier, okay? And I ain't talking about the Clear Blue, I'm talking about the Dollar Tree one. Boom, just taught you something, you better get you one. Okay. Went in there. So I walked up to the thing. I ain't never been embarrassed. Well, no. When in the beginning, I was embarrassed to go for that pregnancy test. I was like, trying to hide behind the pregnancy test, okay? But this time, no. I went straight in. I was like, stood at the register. She's like, how may I help you? I'm like, yeah, I need them pregnancy tests right there. She walked over. She said, this one or this one? I'm like, nah, give me that pink box, okay? I ain't never seen that purple box. that pink box, it always get me there. Okay, so I need the pink box. Okay, so she go and grab the test. She's like, you just need one. I'm like, nah, give me two. And then she was like, two, okay. And then my husband's like, you might as well get the last one. I'm like, just give me all of them. So it was three of them. The lady laughing at us. We paid for the pregnancy test. Yes, $330. Boom, boom. $330 for 3 pregnancy tests. Why would I pay $15,000 for a damn pregnancy test? Not me. I'm cheap. We take the pregnancy test or whatever. And at first we don't see nothing. We just like, yeah. And then we just see this little paint line. And I'm like, oh, nah. I said, I'm pregnant. And he was like, no, I don't know. I don't really see nothing. He's squinting his eyes, talking shit. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm literally having an inner panic attack. An inner panic attack. Okay, y'all don't understand. The inner panic attack. Okay, at that time, my youngest son was like, I think 6 months. 6 or 7 months. Or about to be 7 months. Regardless, he was youngest. Okay, I was just like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I just got a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-month-old, and I'm talking about pregnant. Oh, baby. Fall out. Just lay there and die. I was not there, okay? I was very much so in shock for a couple of days. And I was like, I ain't telling nobody. Ain't nobody gonna know until I'm showing, okay? Then they're gonna be like, Ebony, are you pregnant? And I'm gonna be like, oh, yeah. Yeah, just show up at the event pregnant. 8 months pregnant. Here you go. Feed me. And that's it. That's all I got for you. I don't know. So I went to my mama's house the next day. On October 30th. Having a good time, but I had been cramping. I've been feeling a lot of cramps or whatever. But I'm used to it. Like, again, I've had 3 kids. I know, light cramping is normal. Early pregnancy. And then I go to the bathroom and I'm spotting. So I'm like, okay, spotting is normal, but around implantation, So I don't know, is it implanting itself on my uterus or should I be worried? So I call my husband and I tell him, like, I'm cramping and I'm having some bleeding, so I might be miscarrying or whatever. I've had 2 miscarriages, so I also know about miscarriages. So I warning signs both ways. You never know which way it's gonna go. And so my husband was like, okay, well, just tell your mama just in case she needs to, take you somewhere or whatever. So I'm like, all right. So I go in there and I tell him, break the news to my mama. I'm pregnant. Oh Lord, she's dramatic. That's where I get my drama from. I got dramatic because my mama's dramatic. Thank her. Now, in the comments, I wound up leaving the next. I'm not leaving the next day. Leaving like a couple of hours later. My husband like, you all right? I'm like, I'm fine. It's really, really slow. Nothing major. I'm just gonna put a pad on and see, what happens. So it pretty much went stop go in like the first little while or whatever. So a few days later, November 1st, I went to the hospital because I was still bleeding. I'm like, okay, now what's happening? Is it a miscarriage or not? Like, I need to know. So I went there. They ran all these tests. They gave me, took my blood, lots and lots and lots of blood. I know what y'all be doing. Y'all be storing my blood, okay? Y'all don't need that much blood in them tubes, okay? I need my blood, especially because I was already bleeding for days, okay? So I need y'all taking that much, but it's not laying on there. I'm gonna leave y'all alone, because y'all saved the bitch life. That's about it. It's the only reason. Even though y'all almost killed me too, so we gonna get to that. Anyway, so they said I was too early because they gave me an ultrasound, of course, and it was the very uncomfortable ones, the ones that with the little wand, and not the little one that go in your belly, because everybody believe, oh, you get an ultrasound, it's on your belly. No, only when you're not early, because if you're early, they're gonna stick this thing that look like a dildo, the biggest, longest dildo you ever did see. It's probably like the biggest, but it's the longest. That motherfucker's long as hell. They shove it up in you and start moving in different directions. I swear they be aiming for something. Organs, not the baby. So, but yeah. Anyway, she said she couldn't see anything, but she said, she believes I was early. Duh. Because I had my period. My last period was on the 1st of October. And that date was November 1st. So only a month. That's just a month between my periods. So yeah. She was just like, no. You're just early, so we're not gonna see anything. So what I'm gonna need you to do is just do a repeat blood test in 2 days. And it should have been doubled by then, so we'll know if you're still pregnant. Or if it goes down, then you'll know that you're miscarrying. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So now I gotta wait 2 more days to find out whether I'm miscarrying or not and what's going on. So November the 3rd, I went to get my blood test. It came back normal. It had doubled. Everything was fine. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna have you do another repeat blood test on 5th, 2 days from that. So November 5th, I go. And it does what it's supposed to do. It's back normal. I'm like, okay, normal test, fine. They're like, okay, we're gonna schedule an ultrasound because, you know. Hold one moment. Okay, I'm continuing my video. Y'all might see me looking down or bending down or something because I'm feeding my baby right quick because, you know, he gotta eat. But what was I, 8? They scheduled me an ultrasound for November the 8th. So I went to my ultrasound on November the 8th, and on the ultrasound, they ain't see nothing. Well, we ain't see nothing. I'm gonna say we, because I was in that bitch like this too. And I know what a baby look like. I know what a fetus look like. I know what a baby look like. So I was just like, I don't see nothing either. I don't think what was going on right here. And they told me to go back and keep getting a repeat blood test. I'm like, here we go. Okay, so I went back. I kept going back to go get repeat blood tests because they told me to go to my ultrasound on the 8th, so I didn't have to go back and get no blood. And then, so they told me to go start on the 9th or whatever. So the 9th, I went. On the 11th, I went. They were open on weekends, yes. The lab was open on weekends, so I was able to go every 2 days. So I went every 2 days for like 3 days straight. Then they sent me back and told me to get another ultrasound. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like, goddamn. Like, I'm tired of this shit here. And every one of them was doing what they were supposed to do. Every time we went to the get an ultrasound, they was like, I still don't see anything, but that don't mean anything. That baby could just be in a weird place. They even checked my tubes. They were like, baby's not in the tube. We don't see no baby in the tube. That doesn't necessarily mean the baby's not in the tube, but we don't see a baby in the tube, so we don't know. So they sent me back every 2 days to get blood drawn. Meanwhile, I'm still bleeding. I've been bleeding since the 30th? Yeah, since the 30th. I've been bleeding since the 30th. Like, and at this time it's like the 19th. I mean, not the 19th. Like no, I'm gonna say about the 19th. It's about the 19th. So I'm like, okay, at this point, don't go back, get no blood. You got enough blood. You just need to come back and see us, get an ultrasound. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like at this point, we go every week, and I've been getting ultrasound, or whatever. Stop touching stuff, Diggy man. Stop touching stuff. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So it was the 19th. I was like, okay, I will be there on 22nd is when they scheduled my appointment for the ultrasound. On the 22nd that morning, me and my husband got up really early and we went to the store. We went to Walmart. And all I remember was walking around the store, going to the register. When I got to the register, I felt like a pain. And it was subtle at first. And as I was walking out the door, it got worse and worse and worse. And I could see like little twinkly stars. And I couldn't catch my breath. It felt like I was dying. Like, that's what it felt like. It felt like I was fucking dying. And I couldn't move. My husband had to carry me in the house. And y'all don't, I ain't even gonna say if y'all know where I live. Only ones that know where I live is my family, so nobody. We walking up the stairs or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. I know I take it too long. Okay, well, I'm back. He's just gonna stare at us up in the mirror while he chews his foot. Don't try it. Okay. But yeah. So I had this horrible pain or whatever, and my husband had to carry me up the stairs. It's 2 flights of stairs to even get in the door. So he Boom, boom. He carried me up the stairs. He took me in the room. I swear him picking me up hurt. Like everything hurt. I was just laying there. I fell asleep for like maybe 2 hours, and it finally subsided. And then like my appointment was like in an hour, so I had to hurry up and take a shower, get ready, whatever. So I did all of that. We go head there. We get to the appointment. They do the ultrasound first, of course, as usual. Then they let us go back into the room where we're going to talk to the doctor. We talked to the doctor. She says, we still didn't see anything, but we need to do a procedure on you. Because at this point, you're bleeding, and we don't know why, but we think it's because the baby's not a baby. It's tissue, is what she said. The tissue is in a bad spot or whatever. So I'm like, okay. Hold on a moment. Okay, so they was like, they gotta do some type of procedure. I'm like, okay. So she was like, you're fine to just stay here and wait for the results from the other doctor or whatever. And I'm like, no, I have things to do. I have 3 kids at home. I'm gonna have to leave. Like, y'all can just call me like y'all always do with the results or whatever. So she was like, okay. So they had another doctor looking at the ultrasound, basically. Second opinion. We leave them or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, you know, my side was hurting. I had told them all of that, like my side was hurting and all of that. But they still said they didn't see anything. So I'm like, okay, well. She calls me the next day because I didn't come in for the D&E. That's what they wanted me to come in. She said to come in for a D&E. That's a dilation and evacuation. It's pretty much a D&C. Okay, so I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm pregnant. Clearly I'm pregnant. My levels keep going up. Like, I'm not gonna kill my baby because y'all believe my baby's in a bad spot. So, I mean, I'm gonna put it in God's hands, okay? And that's exactly what I did. And she was just like, well, we really need you to come in because it's not a baby, it's tissue, blah, blah. You know, she was coming up with everything. And for a moment, I was like, oh. She was like, yeah, it could turn into a tumor. She was just coming with stuff. At this point, I'm like, oh, not a tumor. Maybe I do need to go in and get this. So I called my husband. We talked about it. And I'm like, yeah, it's not. She's like, I'm not actually pregnant. It's a tumor making my body believe that I'm pregnant. So giving off the hormone, but I'm not actually pregnant. Whatever. Which, that does happen. You know, does happen. It's scientifically proven. But that was not my case. So I get up. I'm walking around talking, laughing and joking with the family or whatever. I'm like, yeah, they say it's a outpatient surgery, so I'll be in and out today. They gonna just keep me for like 2 or 4 hours, and then I'll be able to go home. And they're like, oh, okay, cool, blah. We just laughing up a storm. I go wash my baby bottle, and I'm like, oh, I left my baby's milk in the room. So I go go into the room to get the milk. I made it barely out of the kitchen. And I got that pain again. And this time it was much worse. It was much worse. I laid there on the floor for like maybe like 5 minutes. I was just laying there on the floor. It was cool, but the floor was cold, so it made me feel, you know, it made me feel good, but like my body was overheating at the same time is what it felt like. And it was just a lot of pain. So I'm like, oh, I am dying at this point is what I felt like. I'm like, I am fucking dying. Like, something is wrong. And so my mother-in-law comes and picks me up off the floor. And she's like, you gotta get up off the floor, you gotta get on the couch. I'm like, I cannot move. Please don't make me move. And she's like, you have to get up, Edmund. You cannot lay on the floor. And I'm like, I have to lay on the floor. But she would not let me lay on the floor. So I wanted to get up. And we went to the couch. I stayed there the entire rest of the time that I was at the house. We wound up calling my husband and telling him that what was going on with me. And then calling the ambulance because he was already on his way to come and get me because, like I said, I had the D&E that I was supposed to do. So not the paramedics, the fire department comes first. They come and they see if, like, check me out, whatever. My blood pressure was fluctuating. It was doing all type of things. It was terrible. I'm gonna say that. I think it was high. Yeah, my blood pressure was high. I think that's what I don't know. It's like 80, 85 over 65 or something like that. It's really, really bad. It was just doing a lot of bad. Okay, and then they were like, the ambulance is like 15 minutes away. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die before they get here. Like, I literally thought I was dying. So I was like, no, that ain't it. Like, this is not it. This is not okay. Everybody kept asking me, was I okay? They wanted to see what did it feel like. It literally felt like somebody had a million needles and they took all of them at the same time and hit me in my stomach, like all over my stomach. At first, like I said, the day before that, it was only on my right side. That day, on the 23rd, it was everywhere. It was on my entire stomach, is what it felt like. So they took down my information or whatever. The ambulance finally makes it. They're like, okay, well, we got to get you in this chair because we got to take you down the steps. Like I told y'all, I have 2 flights of stairs to get into my house. So that means that, you know, I ain't gonna walk down them stairs. They're like, unless you think you can walk. Do I look like I can fucking walk down them stairs? Like, I was really, that man really pissed me off. Like, I really wanted to punch him in the face. Like, sir, I cannot fucking walk down them stairs. I can't even fucking get up. I can't sit up. I have to lay down. And I'm like, I can't sit up in that chair because my body won't allow me to sit up in that chair. I have to lay down. They're like, no, you gotta get up. So my mother-in-law and one of the firemen decide they gonna pick me up and place me in the chair. They try to do it as fast as possible, but I told them it's not gonna work. I'm in a lot of fucking pain. But they moved me anyway because they had no choice. I mean, I had to be moved. There was no other way to do it. So they picked me up, and immediately that pain, I felt a pop. Like, it literally sounded like a pop, like I heard it, and I felt it at the same time. It was like kind of like your water breaking. If anybody's water ever like broke, like exploded, not like dripped. I mean like popped, like how the movies look. So I wound up passing out. I told them I'm finna pass out. They're like, no, you're okay. And I started leaning to the side. That's all I remember. I remember leaning to the side because I couldn't control my body at that point and blacking out. And when I woke, when I came to, I was already at the bottom of the steps. I was on the gurney. And I was halfway there. Like, I was in and out. I could, like, it was like blinking, like really slow. That's what it looked like to me when I was coming in and out. And they wouldn't let my mother-in-law get in the ambulance with me because of COVID. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Now I gotta ride by myself. That's where they hit every bump on the way there. Every single one. And she's like, I'm so sorry. There's nothing I can really do. Let me just lay you back further. And maybe that'll like keep you from the gurney from jumping so much while we hitting all these bumps. And I'm like, okay, I don't think so. And this is the first time I've ever rode in an ambulance and they turned the sirens on. That's how I was like, oh, I'm dying. I just knew I was dying. I'm like, I'm dying. They turned the sirens on. It's an emergency. I'm dying. I just knew it. And I was so sad. I was just so sad. I'm like, I just want to see my kids grow up. And I want to get old with my husband. What is you doing, son? Relax. So, yeah. So, I get to the hospital. And they don't have a room for me. So, at first we in the hallway. And then they whispering. And she trying to whisper and tell the girl she's like, her blood pressure is such and such. I'm like, girl, I seen my blood pressure. You ain't got to whisper. What you trying to tell me? I'm dying. Like, legit. Like, that's all I kept thinking of. I'm dying. Okay? So, they put me in a room. Like, it's like a waiting area for a room with, like, other people on gurneys that came out from the ambulance bay or whatever. So, they put me in that room with them. I'm like, I am in so much pain. And she's like, well, I'm going to let you see the doctor first. And this, that, and that. I'm like, lady, I am in so much pain. And it's like 5 nurses back there. I'm like, come on now. One of y'all can do something. Give a bitch something. Let me pop something. Stick me somewhere with something. Because I am in so much fucking pain. So I asked them, because like I told y'all, my phone was broke. So I didn't have a phone. So I was like, I need to call my husband because he was on his way to the hospital because the ambulance had came. by the time he got there. So, they were like, okay, so they let me use one of the nurse phones or whatever. I called him, and he's like, he was across the street because I told them to take me to Women and Infants because that's where my doctor was meeting me, because we had called my doctor back, and she said she was going to meet me over there. So I'm like, take me over there because that's where I need to be. And they took me to the emergency room. Why you take me to UAB emergency? And I told y'all, take me Women and Infants. Like, it annoyed the crap out of me. But whatever. They took me to the emergency room. And so my husband had to get back in touch with my doctor to tell her to meet us at the emergency room because I was in the emergency room. Then they wouldn't let him back to the room that I was in because it was not a room. It wasn't a room by itself. It was a room for people who came in for emergencies but are waiting on a room. But they came through the ambulance bay or whatever. So I'm like, okay, great. So then, like, 3 doctors. The one that it was initially my doctor. The doctor that confirmed what she said and told her that I needed to get a D&E. And then a male doctor that I've never seen. I guess he's one of the emergency doctors. He came in with his student. So I'm like, okay, great. They all come in. So he's like, we don't do an ultrasound on her right quick or whatever because she's complaining about pain in her stomach. And I'm like, she's like, yeah. Then she tried to explain what had been really going on this entire time. Again, I'm still bleeding. So he's like, okay, do you mind if we press on your stomach? I'm like, please don't. And he's like, look, I just have to press on it just a little bit, okay? And everywhere he pressed, it hurt. He's like, does it hurt more when I press on it or let it go? And legit, I almost passed out again because when he said press on it, he pressed and held it, and then he said, well, let it go, and then he let it go. I don't know. I can't decipher because we're both hurt fucking terribly. Like, I need you to, like, stop pressing on my stomach. I just need you to figure out what the fuck is wrong with it. So they come with the ultrasound machine or whatever, portable ultrasound machine. They do ultrasound. And he's like, what is this called? And then the man said, free fluid. I'm like, oh, I'm dying. I'm dying for real. And the 2 ladies had walked in. They like, yeah, you're going to need surgery. We're going to give you emergency surgery because it looks like your fallopian tube burst. So you had an ectopic pregnancy. And I'm like, this cannot be real. Like, because these things always seem to happen to me. Like, what the heck? Ectopic pregnancy? Me? Like, come on, nah. I said I wasn't prepared for another baby, but I was gonna buckle down and do my thing, okay? Like I always do. It was never gonna be that damn deep. They wound up giving me a room, like, immediately after that. I'm like, I need to see my husband. I'm like, can he please come back here? I need somebody with me right now. And
I love you.
I love you too, baby. Mommy's doing a video, okay? So let mommy do our video. So I'm like, and I'm in a lot of pain. Can somebody give me pain medication? So they gave me morphine at that time. They gave me morphine. And it wore off within like 15 minutes.
Pain medication.
You listening way too much. You need to listen this much in class. The damn morphine. And then, like, they took me in the room with my husband. And I'm like, okay, great. And he was already in there, so that was even better. So my husband had really talked most of the time for me when people were calling, trying to check, see what's going on. They wouldn't let my mama back. Due to COVID, I could only have one visitor. And my mom was like, I just want to see her face and tell her I love her. They were like, no, you can't even go back there for like a minute or 2. Like, they weren't letting her back. So my husband just wanted to come back, which was devastating. I knew it was devastating for her because if it was my child, I would want to see my child, especially if they were going through what I was going through, something that could possibly lead to death or something to that nature. Going into surgery, you don't know how surgery gonna go. You know, yes, it could be a routine surgery. That don't mean that you're gonna come up out of it. So, you know, all of the above. But I had no other choice. It was either die trying not to have surgery or die in surgery. We're in one of the. So I picked. They wound up taking me back to surgery. My husband came with me. They let him see me for like 2 seconds. enough to give me a kiss and tell me he loved me, and then they took me off to surgery. What I remember about surgery, the operating room, is freezing. Do you hear me? Freezing. It's ridiculous. They told me to slide onto the table. They had already gave me pain medication, well, a little bit, because, I mean, again, I was running through it because I was in so much pain. But, they told me to slide over to the thing. I slid over onto the little table. They started talking to me or whatever. I forgot what question they asked me. They asked me some question, and I was trying to answer it, and I wound up, but it's pretty much I fell asleep. That's what it felt like. I fell asleep. And when I woke up, it was like a couple hours later, and I was laying there, and they was giving me some blood. They were taking the rest of the blood off. Because they had told me they gave me 2 bags of blood. I lost a lot of blood during surgery or whatever. I'm like, okay, even better. I've been bleeding all this time, and now I lost blood. So from the 30th of October to the 23rd of November, I was bleeding. So that's the amount of time I bled every day. Every single day. That's a lot of bleeding. It was weird coming out of surgery. I was groggy. I was in pain still. Not like that excruciating pain, but I was in pain. Like my body was really, really, really sore. When they finally did let my husband back hours later after I got out of surgery, I swear they waited 6 hours until I got out of surgery, and then they finally let him back. Like, why do y'all wait so long? Y'all, he could have been came back. I'm in the same spot I've been in. Like, that was stupid to me, but they waited about 6 hours to let him back. Everything was weird. It was weird to do anything after having surgery. Walking was weird. Using the restroom was weird. It was all bad. But needless to say, I made it to 2022 because the devil tried to take me out before Thanksgiving. So he just gave me another reason to be thankful on Thanksgiving because I was alive and well, okay? And yes, I still cook. After I got out of the hospital, I still cooked. For Thanksgiving, I didn't cook everything, of course, because, like, I mean, I had just got out of the hospital. I wanted to tell my husband. I mean, we were cooking Thanksgiving, so why not, cook Thanksgiving? That's about it, I survived. I am no longer pregnant, which is, sad in its own way, so, because it's losing a child again. No one wants to lose a child. But I'm alive, and I'm well. Okay, if y'all like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And, I hope to do more videos like this. I don't have a lot of story times that I can think about that to just be talking about that might be interesting. But this one of me almost dying last year, very interesting to me. So, I hope y'all like it. And until next time, I'll see y'all on the flip side. Bye.
Oh, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. Why they wanna move like that?